Hi there, I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woohoo! It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes, it is.
It's a hot day in the neighborhood.
It's a very hot day in the neighborhood. Getting another one of these heat waves.
It's 11 o'clock, and it's over 80 degrees at this point, and
which is hot for us.
Yes.
So it's understand Western Pennsylvania. We're not used to this. It's not the first time that it's happened.
No.
So for some of the people out there, they're starting to say, "Oh, look at this. This proves nothing." I looked it up. So I looked these things up, and in 1988, I believe it was, the Pittsburgh area had, I want to say it was 38 days that summer that were 90 degrees or higher. We are now at about 10.
Yeah.
So
we passed 12 yesterday.
Did we pass 12 yesterday?
Yeah.
But still, that's nowhere near 38.
Today's going to be number 13.
We're not even close.
Yeah.
And there have been many other summers that have had more. Now, we still have time for more, but it looks like
only the middle of July.
Yes, we make it through to Wednesday, though, and we're supposed to catch a break and get to more seasonable temperatures, highs in the low to mid 80s. None of this, because we're going to go above 90 again today.
Yeah,
and we're going to go above 90 again tomorrow. Yeah. And that's just unusual for Western Pennsylvania and lots of other places.
Yeah.
And we get it. But again, it's weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things that happen. Runs in cycles.
Yeah. So it's hot. It's humid. And that's what makes it miserable. It's the combination of the two.
The heat and the humidity.
Yeah.
Even though we've been out to Phoenix when it's 115 degrees and it might be a dry heat, but it's still a heat.
Hot.
You walk outside, you feel like you're baking in an oven. I don't care what they say. It's hot.
And I keep telling him, remember all this, when you're freezing in January and February, I don't want to hear it because you'll be too cold.
I will be cold. Problem with the cold is it really causes the arthritis to act up. And unfortunately, I've had arthritis from the time I was about 18, 19 years old because of a hand injury. Yeah. So I've been dealing with it for decades.
Yeah. All right. So today we're going to talk about one of our buddies, our buddy 10. And for those of you who haven't tuned in the past 4 years,
where you been?
Exactly. 10 is, let me show you what 10 is. 10 is our plant. You can see from the slide here, the one on the left was when we got 10 back in February of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
He was this tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. Okay. The one on the right was actually September of 2020. So that was a little, 7 months later.
Yeah.
He had grown quite a bit. Okay. And 10 today looks just like that. Okay. 10 is now in a completely different place. And this, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about 10 is because of how much he's grown.
Yeah, 10 has grown a lot.
10 has grown a lot. So 10 is now too big for where he used to be. While back here, when we first got him and up until a couple weeks ago, he lived right there on our kitchen counter. He literally was just to Jim's left for over 4 years.
Yep.
He was there. And he grew and grew and grew. And I knew we needed to repot him because he was getting too big for the pot that he was in. And so when we repotted him, he was too big for the kitchen.
So why don't you explain the significance of 10? Because you're talking about a plant, and it means nothing to anybody at this point.
No, but we're also going to talk about, you're right, well, why he's important, but also why being this big means a lot too, and what we've learned from him. So right now I'd say he's what, about 4 feet tall, maybe?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't go in there and measure him, but yeah, maybe.
He's gotten very tall. All right. So what does this mean? So 10 is a money plant.
It's our money tree.
He's a money tree.
You
And
thought that money didn't grow on trees. 10 is a money tree.
10 is a money tree. And if you do any digging into what money trees are, they're from South America, and they grow wild down there. But they're supposed to bring you good luck, and they're supposed to bring you money and fortune and wealth and all that stuff. And so back in January, February 2020, we had gotten together. It was January 2020. We got together with a bunch of our friends from the Empowered Living community. We were all down in Orlando together for a weekend, and everybody was talking about getting a money tree and having it grow as they grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be an expression of what's going on around you. It's supposed to be showing how much good energy you have, and all the abundance that is out there and stuff like that. And so we got our money tree, and the first picture that you see of him there on the left-hand side was literally the day we got him. Okay. He was just this tiny little thing. And it's just like, okay. So we got him, we repotted him, and he instantly started to grow.
Yes.
Which is a good sign. One of the things that you learn about plants is you want them to grow and you want them to thrive. One of the reasons why you get them is because you want your plants to grow. Correct?
Yes. I'm not sure you need to explain that.
But yeah, so you want your plants to grow, and he did. He started to grow, and he started to grow quickly.
Yes, that he did.
And so he's been through probably about 3 or 4 different pots that
Yes.
we had to repot them into. And I thought, we haven't talked, because we talked about 10 probably a couple years back. We
Mhm.
talked about them. And back then he was still in the kitchen here with us, and we could actually show him to you, but we couldn't today because he's too big. And I thought this is an ideal time to talk about 10 and what we've learned. Because there's several lessons to learn from plants in general, and there's definitely lessons to learn from him. Now, one of the things that you may be asking is, why would we name our plant 10? So why did we name him 10?
Because we're big fans of the Divergent series, and so we had 4 there, so we had 10.
No.
That's not right. He represents a specific number for us.
10 is as a number?
Well, yes, 10 is a number, but that he represents a very specific number for us.
Yeah, and actually, if you go to our website, which is right there, if you go to our website, one of the things that you'll find on our website is it has the vision that we have for our company, A Teague of Your Own. And part of that is for us to help 10 million people.
Yes, that's it.
And so 10 represents the people out there that we want to help 10 million people.
10 million people.
And so we named him 10 with the theory that he's going to help us to grow to helping 10 million people.
Right. And we know that when we help 10 million people, that we will get, everything out of life that we want.
Yes.
Because it goes back to what Zig Ziglar always said. If you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want.
Exactly.
And that, in a nutshell, is the secret to life.
Yeah.
It really sums it up.
Yeah.
Many people don't get that. They're always looking out for me. What can I get? What can I get? What can I get? And they don't understand that you have to serve others first. We all must serve in some capacity.
And when you look at plants,
Mhm.
plants actually serve a purpose. Plants have a huge purpose in life. One of them is to clean the air.
Yeah.
There are some plants that provide food. There are other plants that all plants clean the air for you. So there are reasons for plants, and 10 adds value to us as other plants add value to people. And that's one of the things that you learn from plants is you learn how to add value to other people.
Right.
one of the other things that I've learned from 10 is that you have to be very adaptable and you have to grow in different environments. One of the things that concerned me when we repotted him this last time, because all the other times when we would repot him, he stayed here in the kitchen. And he had his same window, he had his same spot, we knew that the light was good for him. We knew that the even though the temperature in here is way too hot right now, we knew the temperature was good for him. We knew the environment for him was good for his growth. And then we moved him. And so for the past couple of weeks, I've been paying attention to him to make sure that he's still in a good environment, even though it's very different from what he was in previously. And he's growing.
Yeah.
So
he's doing fine.
So he's very adaptable. And that's one of the lessons that we need to learn is how can we adapt to the environment that we're in so that we can grow. There's so many lessons that plants and that 10 can teach us.
Well, and the other cool thing about 10 is he not only you see his growth, but I like to look at his growth represents our growth. And so, it's one of the things that I remember Paul Martinelli talking about with his plant. That even when he would have those moments where he would feel like, man, am I really making any progress here? What am I doing? And then he would, especially if he'd been away for a while, he'd come back and he'd see his plant and he'd see the growth in the plant. He would realize, oh yeah, I'm growing right along with the plant. All these trials, these tribulations, whatever is going on, it adds to his growth. And so every time that he would see his plant and see how much the plant had grown, it reminded him that he had also grown. And so for us, it represents that to an extent.
It does.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there are lots of challenges that get put in your way. Like you said, sometimes you feel like you're not growing. You don't feel like you're making any progress. You're not moving. And the reality is you are.
Yeah.
You just don't see it. Growth doesn't happen overnight.
No.
And with 10, he didn't go from that tiny little plant to like I said, about 3.5, 4 feet tall overnight. It took, over 4 years for him to get there. It's the same with us. It's the same with everybody else. Is you don't grow overnight. It takes a while for you to get to where it is that you want to be. And everybody's going through that process at their own pace. Because that's the other thing is plants don't all grow equally.
No.
Out front of our house, we have several different bushes and plants. And on one side of our front door, they hardly grow at all. On the other side, they've grown like crazy. And so same plants, very different levels of growth.
Yeah.
And it's the same with people. People grow at different speeds. They grow at different times. And sometimes they'll grow quickly for a short period of time and then kind of level off and then grow again. And same with your plants. And that's one of the things that 10 has really taught me is there'll be periods where you'll have growth and then there'll be periods where you don't. And
I think with our plants out front, part of it is the ones that grow rapidly, they are exposed to a lot of sunlight every day.
Yeah.
The ones that don't grow rapidly see very little sunlight because there's a big oak tree out front that blocks the sunlight from one side of the front. And so those plants don't grow. So that's another lesson.
Yeah.
That's another lesson. You got to have the sunlight to grow.
You do. And actually, sunflowers, one of our friends, Alita Richmond, she has sunflowers in her yard that she had planted actually last year. She planted them and they came up again this year. Sunflowers throughout the course of the day, they follow the sun. And it's because that's their source of light. That's their source of energy. That's where they get their food from. And it needs to be the same with us. We need to follow the source of light. We need to follow our source of energy. And when we do that, we grow faster because we're in that source of energy and light. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's plants can teach you so many things. They really can, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to focus on 10 this week. Something different. But 10 has taught us a lot. He continues to grow. He's in a different space at this point, and he's doing well.
He's thriving.
He is. And that's what we want for us, and that's what we want for you. We want all of you to be able to thrive, even if you're going through different challenges, even if you're going through times where you're not seeing growth and you're thinking, oh, what's going on? Why am I not growing like I wanted to? You need to ask yourself, what's getting in the way of your growth?
Right.
But you also need to ask yourself, okay, is this just one of those periods where there's stuff going on underneath? Because that's the thing about plants is the roots start to expand and then upward starts to expand. So is there stuff going on underneath that you can't really see, and you're still growing in different ways? You're just not as aware of it as you are when other things happen.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So take a look at some of the plants. Go out there. If you want to get a money tree or a money plant, I'm trying to remember. Alice Givens is the one that we ordered.
You ordered it. I don't know.
Yeah. Alice Givens, and you can find her on Facebook. She and I can't remember who else. They own a flower store. They own the florist shop, but they also sell plants, and that's where we got 10 from.
They'll mail it to you.
They will. But there's plenty of places out there you can go and you can get one and see how much it grows as you're growing. I mean, it's supposed to be a reflection of the growth and the potential that you have. And that's what plants do.
Yeah, because that's another thing that at least I've noticed about plants is that plants tend to thrive in happy households.
Yes.
And so that's also when you have a plant like that that's in your home and you see it growing. And so we're always looking for when it's sprouting off new leaves, and
He does.
Yeah. It gets real exciting when you see little bit,
and you'll see the tiny little bud
Yep.
coming out.
Yep.
And then a couple days later you'll see it, and then it starts to open up its leaves, and
Yep.
you're just like,
It's exciting every time.
The other thing about 10 is he had one of his arms shriveled and died.
Yep.
And another one came out next to it.
Yep.
And is probably the biggest and the strongest out of all of them.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So keep that in mind. When one part of you seems to not be growing, it seems to be shriveling up, take a look at what else is going on in your life, because there's a good chance that it's growing
Yep.
and it's thriving and it's doing better.
Yep.
And that's a sign to you.
Right. One door closes, another one opens.
Yep. So keep that in mind.
All right.
So if they wanted help
Mhm.
with figuring out their growth, if people out there wanted help figuring out a strategy for their own growth, who could they contact?
That'd be us.
Yes. And how could they contact us?
Well, there's a multitude of ways.
There are.
You can call us. There's our phone number, 412-420-7975. We will talk to you on the phone if you call us. You can also text us. We will respond to the texts.
Yep.
You can go to our website, which is ateagofyourown.com. You can send us an email, which is info@ateagofyourown.com. And you can go to our social media. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. And you can watch all of these Motivational Mondays. You can go in and pick the ones you want to watch by topic and hopefully get something out of it.
Sure.
But we are easy to find.
Yep.
Please look us up.
So reach out to us. Let us know what we can do to help you, because you're part of the 10 million people.
That's it. You are part of the 10 million. Congratulations.
Yes. and we want to help. So reach out to us. Let us know what we can do to help you. All right. we will see you next week. Everybody stay cool. Try and get some water into you.
Yes.
Stay hydrated. And we will see you next Monday.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.